Bonjour everyone. Today we're going to talk about the new moon in Taurus, so I'll take you for a little walk on the land in nature. I'm very happy to be with you again, and we have this interesting new moon in Taurus happening on the 17th of May 2026 at 6 a.m. Brisbane time, Australia, and she's sitting at 25 degrees 57, let's say 26 degrees of Taurus. New moons are often like seeds sown, an intention formulated for the coming months. And this new moon is very unique because if you look at the chart, this new moon coincides with an alignment. We call this a stellium between the moon, sun, and Mercury at the end of Taurus, and Uranus at the very beginning of Gemini. So this indicates an important moment, like a threshold about to be crossed. Something very powerful is happening there. The Sun, Moon, Mercury, Uranus conjunction spans on two different signs, so symbolically they are not playing the same tune. This is called a dissonant conjunction. And the image is that of an half-open door. It is like having a part of you on one side and the other part of you is already on the other side. It is like a passage. The Sun, Moon, Mercury in Taurus seek to slow down, to feel, to stabilize. They speak of the recent past, of the earth, of what has been built, while Uranus is leading them towards the energy of Gemini, toward what is to come, toward speed, communication. Uranus speaks of a mental acceleration, new narratives, a change in the frequency of thought. We sense that, isn't it? That something is going to change abruptly. The last time Uranus visited the first degree of Gemini was 84 years ago. That is his complete cycle around the zodiac. The return to this frequency is therefore an event. As now and for the next 7 years, we will rediscover and experience the frequency of Uranus in Gemini. So this new moon put us in an astrological climate that blends the need for grounding, emotional expression, and a certain tension toward change. It represents a phase of germination that takes place in the sign of Taurus, often associated with stability, security, resources. But more profoundly, Taurus also speaks of the body, rhythm, calming, and our capacity to regain a sense of peace when something overwhelms us emotionally. So, what truly helps you regain inner stability? Here, what you seek to stabilize is not your external life, but simply your inner world. And then there is Mars in Aries and Venus in Gemini, which are conversing amicably in a sextile. And the new moon and Mercury in Taurus are positioned just halfway between Venus and Mars. So all of these form an harmonious dialogue between the burst of action, the beauty of communication, and the grounding power of the earth. This new moon in Taurus does not want you to act urgently. On the contrary, she invites you to slow down, to listen deeply to what has become essential for you, and consequently to make solid, lasting choices with an intention that seeks to be aligned with what you truly want to build for the future. Taurus also is a sign of simple pleasures, knowing how to enjoy life. It is therefore about connection to life. So, what still deserves your energy today? Ask yourself. The planet Uranus has just entered Gemini on the 26th of April after 7 years in Taurus. So we found ourselves in a phase of reconstruction after the major changes linked to Uranus transit through Taurus. Uranus in Taurus brought new lifestyle, and not always with easy awakenings. Sometimes brutal awakenings where we were pushed, expelled, forced out of our comfort zone. And you may have faced sudden situations like a breakup, a move, or financial transformation, or something related to your body, your senses. So with Uranus newly in Gemini now, this new moon is a moment when you can finally breathe. You can calm down now after several years of inner turmoil. The idea here is not just to survive, to change, but rather to rebuild something more stable, more self-aware, more faithful to the person you have become. Taurus is an energy of calm, recentering, and inner listening, a desire to return to something simple. Taurus loves simplicity, unlike his opposite sign, Scorpion, which gravitates toward complexity. So, this new moon invites you to experience more inner silence, to reconnect with your body, with your sensation, and follow your natural rhythm. It is an invitation to hear what you truly feel inside. So what is nourishing your inner peace? And to help you with that, we have Mercury in Taurus and Venus in Gemini. They help you to concretely organize what is viable. Mercury in Taurus is very pragmatic, and we have Venus representing relational intuition in Gemini, and she complements Mercury. Why? Because Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, is in Taurus, and Venus, the ruler of Taurus, is in Gemini. This means that these two planets are in mutual reception, because they are in each other's signs. So they easily exchange their energy. They evoke a transfer of power, a passing of the torch between the two signs of Taurus and Gemini. So Mercury and Venus work together to help you become aware of certain attachment, whether material, relational, dependent, or based on thought pattern that hinder a form of freedom, but it is also about the need to detach. This prompts you to re-examine what you are rooted in, what your securities are, to verify what you rely on, what anchors you. So during this lunar cycle, there could be an awakening that pushes you to become aware of the armor you have built and to free yourself from it in order to embark on a new path. After identifying what unconsciously holds you back and hinders your freedom. Because, you see, we become easily attached to a place we live, to a person, and we create a dependency out of fear to feel secure inside. So during this lunar cycle, there will be an awakening to move towards this liberation. And it can initiate a process of changing certain priorities, because a shift in values is taking place in relation to the values you consider a source of security for you. It is a period that can be very fruitful and allowing you to make things flourish by freeing yourself from all patterns of the past. A renewal is in the work for a new grounding, but it potentially involves becoming aware that you have detachments to make in order to begin a liberation from these attachments. There may be breaks in ties, whether with people, situations, living spaces, or even suffocating family ties and a need to distance yourself from emotional patterns that create bonds of dependence. With Mercury in Taurus, you take the time, you don't decide hastily, you see things through to the end. You seek to return to something more concrete, more embodied, and simpler. And this can manifest as a need to reconnect with your body, to slow down the pace, to rediscover silence. But the Taurus need for security does not necessarily seek always silence or complete withdrawal. It may also seek solace in a form of exchange through speech, writing, and sharing. Some people find calm by isolating themselves, others by talking, and still others by writing down what they feel. So this new moon Mercury conjunction opens up this possibility to finally putting words to what remained unclear. Mercury does not just speak of thought or mental analysis. It is also our way of naming what we experience. Sometimes it is only when the words are put on the paper that we feel clearer, more, and it's more observable, and therefore it is a more understandable language. And in Taurus, this language is a slower, more embodied thought, which needs time to form. So this lunation can symbolize a time when you feel the need to write, to speak, to clarify, to better understand what is happening within yourself. So take your time, observe, and analyze. Collectively, many of us are currently reflecting on a new direction in life, making an important choice, finding a healthier routine, anchoring ourselves in a concrete project. Taurus represents the material world. It also represents the value we place on work, effort, and creation. So under this Taurus new moon, you are invited to roll up your sleeve and get to work. It is the moment to build a new foundation, a time to find your foundations, to really solidify them, because it is a new moon of reconstruction. Your old structure has been turned upside down. In fact, the old structure is collapsing, and now you see what could replace it. So it is a moment to find new ground, a new way of inhabiting your life. And this could be happening around work, home, finances, or your relationship with yourself, with others, and with your body, changing your habits, or simply how you organize and invest your energy. And remember, this new moon in Taurus requires patience and consistency, because things take time. Venus in Gemini is also a good help, because she pushes you to choose what truly resonates with you. Venus governs this new moon in Taurus, and in Gemini she brings more mental activity, curiosity, and reflection. Gemini is a mutable sign, so there could be several options, several possibilities, several conceivable directions that present themselves to you during this lunar cycle. But unlike scattered energy, this Venus in Gemini seeks above all to understand what truly has meaning for you. So, which direction is truly aligned with your values? Because Taurus speaks to us of values, personal values, self-esteem. Venus is also in a favorable aspect, a sextile, with Mars-Chiron conjunction in Aries. This creates an interesting bridge between feeling and action, as if what is understood internally could more easily be expressed or set in motion. But the Mars-Chiron energy adds a particular symbolic layer here. Expressing what you feel is not always simple. For some people, talking about their emotion can awaken a certain fear of being rejected, a fear of bothering others, a difficulty in asserting themselves, or a wound related to the right to exist fully. The conjunction of Mars and Chiron is remarkable because it is an exact conjunction at 28 degrees of Aries. This marks the end of a healing cycle because this conjunction is the last one that will occur in Aries for several decades. Since 2019, Chiron, the wounded healer, has been speaking to us of a narcissistic injury, a point, a weakness that can become a strength. Chiron in Aries works primarily on identity, self-affirmation, but also on anger, impulsiveness, the relationship desire, even on the physical body, the inner young masculine side, whether you are a man or a woman. Chiron has been able to work on all these points. And every 2 years since 2019, Mars has come to awaken these wounds, to make them conscious. So with this last conjunction, Mars-Chiron in Aries, we are reaching a kind of culmination. And as with every end of a cycle, there will be a very strong awakening around our way of reacting, our stress management, our nervous system, our relationship to urgency. All of this is the energy of Aries. And this last Mars-Chiron conjunction tells you that you no longer have to operate in a state of constant hyper-reactivity. There is a possible healing in slowing down. Mars wants to move quickly. It is his nature, and Chiron asks to slow down just enough so that the accumulated wisdom can be integrated into the gesture, the movement, and the action. So under Chiron's influence, Mars is no longer impulsive. It can become a conscious action, self-affirmation, no longer seeking to prove anything, but simply to express what is deeply alive. This lunar cycle brings a powerful transformation depending on the sector it occupies in your birth chart. So I invite you to look in which houses or areas of life is the axis Taurus-Scorpion located in your chart, as well as the signs of Gemini and Aries. Something remarkable is Algol, a fixed star, which is closely conjunct this new moon. Normally, I'm not delving too much in fixed stars, and my interest is only focused on those that resonate with me. But Algol intrigues me. Algol is a very special star. Its name, Algol, evokes the head of Medusa with that petrifying gaze, that decapitating power narrated in ancient tales. But symbolically, the energy of Algol signals an area where unconscious forces, both collective and personal, can be unleashed uncontrollably if they are not confronted. So, you know the expression to lose one's head. It means losing your discernment, reacting from fear or anger rather than from your center. If you must make decisions, make those that are not under the sway of an emotion that overwhelms reason. This Algol new moon conjunction in Taurus can coincide with sudden falls of individuals or institutions, loss of position, and hidden or contained truths that may erupt uncontrollably. Therefore, the days around this new moon will require a kind of moderation in decision-making and attention to what might be said or done. This new moon Mercury-Algol conjunction forms a trine with Pluto in Aquarius. The trine brings ease. However, with Pluto, it is not necessarily comfortable ease, because even with harmonious aspects, Pluto touches the deepest layers. The trine offers an open path, and Pluton's transformative energy is accessible there. Here, Algol shows the shadow, and Pluto offers the means to transmute it. So it is a clear invitation to look at what within you seeks to impose itself by force, by possession, by the fear of losing. An invitation to recognize it and not let yourself be governed by it. You must let Pluto in Aquarius do his work as an alchemist of transformation, to transform the lead of reactivity into the gold of consciousness. And this is possible thanks to this trine conversation that links the different celestial actors. So it is about crossing the shadow, not avoiding it, crossing it with the clarity of a gaze that does not turn away. Pluto has been retrograde since May 6, 10 days before this new moon, and he is at the end of his stationary phase, so he is still creating a very intense period. His energy is very concentrated on a precise degree, like a magnifying glass focusing the light to the maximum at a certain point. Here it is 5 degrees of Aquarius, and Pluto will resume his direct motion on October 16 at 3 degrees of Aquarius. So for the next 5 months, he will be retrograde through degrees from 3 to 5 of Aquarius. It is a fairly narrow zone, and if you have planets in that area or at the beginning of the other fixed signs, that is to say Leo, Taurus, Scorpion, you will be led one way or another to transform something. This retrograde phase of Pluto is truly a time of self-examination, a plunge into what has not yet been fully understood or integrated. And Pluto brings a promise of rebirth, and in Aquarius, Pluto acts more on collective dynamics, groups, networks, social identities, technological and also media structures. Pluto retrograde intensifies revelations, financial secrets, hidden truths behind the scene of power. So it is all coming to the surface. And it will be for some of us a period, a profound and lasting transformation, a metamorphosis. The new moon is in another gentle conversation, a sextile to Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter is in Cancer until June 30th. He continues to support us and invite us to rediscover our inner security. Jupiter amplifies what it touches. And in Cancer, we are in the realm of emotions, inner memory, what touches us deeply. Jupiter in Cancer brings a very protective, very emotional, restorative energy. So this sextile brings an opportunity, a possibility for integration. It can symbolize the idea that we sometimes find a greater emotional security, not by controlling what we feel, but by offering a space for expressing our emotions. And here again, we return to the idea of putting words to it, writing, sharing with someone we trust, giving form to what we feel. So this new moon, Jupiter sextile, brings you a moment to heal, to nurture yourself in terms of self-esteem, your personal values, to regain some emotional security and therefore well-being. So you are invited to listen to your true needs, to see more clearly what you deserve, what truly nourishes you. And this can be done by stepping back a little from the outside noise and to retreat inward, to rediscover your inner home. And then we still have in the background Saturn and Neptune in Aries. Saturn in Aries is relatively isolated as is gradually moving away from Neptune. This reinforces the idea of personal responsibility, as if despite the need for exchange and support, something reminds us that part of the inner work belongs to us alone. Learning to structure yourself, to contain yourself without repressing yourself, learning to express yourself more maturely. Saturn, isolated in Aries, is like a lone rider. Someone who moves forward, sometimes with difficulty, sometimes burdened with doubt, but who nevertheless learns to become their own support, to become more autonomous. Saturn asks you for more maturity, more responsibility, better management of your energy. And Neptune opens a new vision of yourself, of your spirituality, of your intuition, of your future potential. And together they participate in a profound reconstruction of our identities, a new version of yourself, and identities that will be less impulsive, less dictated by old habits, more conscious, more aligned. Of course, all of this is in the air. It never happens on its own. The stars only propose, and it is for you to dispose. You can benefit from these celestial influences if you take the decision and the action to go in the directions the stars are suggesting. So this new moon in Taurus invites you to create a sufficiently stable inner space, to move forward more serenely afterward. And she reminds you to stay connected to reality, to your body, to nature, to life, to simple things, a good meal, a good home, taking care of your body, taking care of nature, having your feet grandly planted in the ground with the practice of groundology, having your hand in reality. It is very important now. It is more than essential to preserve what deeply anchors us, because now, with Uranus in Gemini, our world is going to become increasingly fast-paced and technological. And it is crucial for each of us to find and define what grounds us and what nourishes this foundation. This new moon is located exactly at the interface of the two worlds between Taurus and Gemini. So we understand that this is a moment when the energies will no longer be the same. Something is beginning to shift from the fixed nature of Taurus to a Gemini circulation, and all the values that had accumulated in possession, they now seek to be set in motion. Taurus is truly about attachment to material wealth, and Uranus in Gemini comes to shake all of that up. And during this new moon time, you can feel the resistance of Taurus structures to the transformation that Uranus proposes. So be attentive. Do not embark on angry actions. Take advantage of this lunar cycle to pause, to listen to what is transforming within you. Because this celestial alignment also shows you a way out. Uranus calls for greater communication. It's not at all about entering into conflict with people attached to outdated things. It is really about moving into Gemini, circulating and exchanging ideas among those who share the same orientation towards something greater than self-interest. We are truly in an energy of exchange, transmission, and communication. Each lunar cycle is like an update of our inner compass. And this new moon wants to help you identify what you want to preserve, because Taurus also preserves. So, what deserves your energy commitment? What habits make you feel good? What are your values? Those you refuse to compromise. This new moon in Taurus helps you identify the foundations on which you wish to build your coming years for yourself and for everyone. She speaks of that transition between raw feelings and the need to finally put words to what is happening inside you. Because even if the world is in turmoil around you, finding inner security can sometimes be the best way to rediscover that quiet strength within. Thank you so much for listening. And if this video spoke to you, you can support it with a like and subscribe. You can leave a comment and you can share it. I am delighted to see more and more of you watching my videos, and it truly pleases me to know that they resonate with you, that they sometimes nourish you, that they comfort you and also validate you. And whenever you feel the call, you can contact me for a reading of your birth chart, and we can meet in person or online. Thank you. May we all walk the path of our hearts with love and light.